Hello, Rewards Canada community. Thank you for tuning in to This Week in Rewards for September 16th to 22nd. This is our weekly newscast of all things happening with credit cards and loyalty programs in Canada. If you like today's content, be sure to hit that like button. And if you don't subscribe to our channels yet, whether it's YouTube or podcast and any other locations that we're located on, be sure to subscribe to our channels and hit that notification bell so that you are notified when our new videos do go up. We'll start off this week with our latest loyalty lesson that we posted on Rewards Canada. And that loyalty lesson is when a credit card first check bag free benefit isn't free. Many years ago when WestJet revamped their RBC World MasterCard at that time to the World Elite MasterCard, they added a new benefit to it, which was getting your first check bag free on WestJet flights for you and up to 8 people. As long as you held that credit card, you didn't have to buy the flights with that credit card, but as long as you had it and had it linked to your WestJet rewards number and your WestJet rewards number was on the reservation, you would get your first checked bag free. And then come 2020 when Aeroplan revamped their program and also changed up the co-brand credit cards, all their premium and higher credit cards also received the same benefit, but for flying with Air Canada. I know so many people over the years, whether it was at my kids' volleyball games, school events, or talking to people through the website, who have got these cards simply for that benefit, to save on your baggage. And it's huge. It can provide huge savings when you are flying with these airlines. I mean, now check bag fees are $30 per person each way at a minimum, if not more. So if you're traveling with quite a few people, even just once per year, that savings alone pays for the credit card itself. Even if you're a solo traveler but travel multiple times yearly, it can save you enough money where it's worth it to get the card for it. But I've also heard from people who end up being surprised when they get to the airport or checking in online, or at least they used to, because I've heard there might be an issue now, or that they actually had to pay for baggage. And the reason behind that, they're surprised that they'd pay for baggage because they thought they would get it for free because they booked the flights on WestJet.com or AirCanada.com or via the reservation agents, or even with the travel agent. No matter where, as long as they thought because they were with the airline they would get the first check bag free. But what happens is if there's a mixed itinerary, as is the case with the entire airline industry, most airlines have partner airlines that they work with. I mean, they have to. I mean, it's just impossible for an airline to fly to every city in the world. I mean, in a perfect world, that would be the case, and then you'd always get first check bag free. But what happens is, so they have partner flights, and I put this in the piece. I'll link to it. Maybe I'd probably do a better job explaining it in the blog post than on here. But yeah, so there's mixed itineraries. So I put up examples of flying to Savannah, Georgia, with Air Canada from Toronto, or with WestJet from Calgary. Neither airline flies directly to Savannah, Georgia. It's just not feasible. So they have partnerships, right? So with WestJet, they're partnered with Delta. So if you book a flight from Calgary to Savannah, Georgia, it's on WestJet from Calgary to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta to Savannah, it's on Delta. Even though that's Atlanta to Savannah flight has a WestJet flight number, so it's their code-share flight number. And WestJet's rules for their first check bag free with their WestJet RBC World Elite MasterCard says the entire itinerary must be flown by WestJet. So because the Atlanta to Savannah, Georgia section is not flown by WestJet, but rather Delta, you are technically not supposed to get your first bag free. I've heard of some people who do, but you're supposed to pay for your bags on those flights. And of course, I make a mention that if you can, of course, buy a ticket with a higher fare class that includes baggage, but that defeats the purpose of having this benefit on the credit card. It's so that you can buy the cheaper flights and get that benefit that you don't have to pay for. You don't have to pay for your baggage. So that's what we kind of look at this piece. So WestJet's rule is basically your entire itinerary needs to be all on WestJet metal. Otherwise, you're not going to get your first check bag free. I'd love to hear from our readers because with WestJet, I've always just flown them direct. It's been a long time since I've connected with them, and when I did, it was just WestJet to WestJet, so it'd be no problem anyways for the card. But I've never connected with WestJet to one of their partner airlines, so I'd love to hear in the comments below, or email me, contact me, and let me know what your experience has been. Have you gotten the first check bag free when you connect to airline other than WestJet? Let me know. I'd be really curious to get some more data points on that. Air Canada's rules are slightly more lenient, I guess we can say. So they're, in my example that I have for them for Savannah out of Toronto, you have to go through Washington Dulles and connect to United Express, but United Airlines. So you fly Air Canada Toronto to Washington, United Washington to Savannah. Air Canada's rule is as long as you check in with Air Canada for an Air Canada flight, you don't have to pay the fee. So if you're flying from Toronto to Savannah, because you're checking in with Air Canada and flying on an Air Canada flight from Toronto to Washington, you don't have to pay the baggage fee, and they automatically connect your bag to your next flight, so you don't have to worry about that. It's transferred, and so you have to worry about paying any fees while you're in Washington going to Savannah. So you're covered. So that's where Air Canada is a little more lenient. They actually specify that it simply has to be a check-in, and your first flight has to be on Air Canada. It can be Rouge, of course, or Express. And you don't have to pay your fee. But it's on the return where you run into a problem where your first check bag fee is not covered, and that's because you would be checking in with United for the United Express flight from Savannah to Washington. And unfortunately, the card will not cover that, and you will have to pay your check bag fees, even though you're connecting to an Air Canada flight. Now, the one thing I'm also not too familiar with is if you choose to only check your baggage to, say, Washington on that occasion. Maybe you book a long layover, like almost a free stopover or something. Well, that'd be on an airplane ticket, but anyways, but you make a long layover where you're in Washington longer. Maybe you want to have a little bit of a visit, and you only ask your bag to be checked to Washington. I would assume you would have to pay the fee when you check in for the Washington to Savannah flight and check your baggage. But again, if anybody's actually done that, let me know in the comments below what your experience has been. But I'm pretty sure you would have to pay the baggage fee for the Washington to Savannah flight if you chose to only check your baggage to Washington, if you had a long layover and you wanted to get your luggage there. So basically, this piece looks at, gives you that limitation. I mean, for most people, this isn't that big of an issue. A lot of people are flying on direct flights with Air Canada, with WestJet, or connecting within Canada. But just know that if your itinerary contains a partner airline, and that can even be within Canada, connecting to somebody like, if you're flying Air Canada, connecting to Canadian North, or as one of our readers on Twitter mentioned, like PAL, Provincial Airlines out east, those airlines do not count as places where you get your first check bag free, so you would have to pay the fee as well. So keep that in mind when you're booking your flights with Western or Air Canada. You'll be on their websites, and it tells you what flights are operated by what airline. So you can do your best to avoid other airlines if you want to make sure you get your first check bag free. But like I said, we don't live in a perfect world where the airlines fly to every city in the world. So if you want to do your flights to Savannah, Georgia, or to many small cities in the U.S. or connect in cities in Europe, like say fly WestJet to Paris, and then one of their codeshare flights on Air France out of Paris, you're not going to get your first check bag free. So keep that in mind. And then you can also check out the pricing. I mean, sometimes the fares that include baggage aren't that much more, where it's cheaper to buy that than paying for baggage right at check-in. So do a little bit of research when you do it. But that's basically in a nutshell this newest loyalty lesson. Check it out. Link will be below. Next up, what do we have? We have the Air France KLM credit card. This is something many of you have been waiting for a year, or almost a year, because the card launched, if I recall correctly, it was October of 2022. And when they launched this credit card, it did not come with bonus miles, and a lot of people expressed frustration. Why is there no sign-up bonus with the card? Well, I mean, it did have a sign-up bonus, but it was XP, which is their elite status points. It provides a boost towards earning status within the Flying Blue program. Well, now that we're about a year in, we're close to a year in, and I think Air France, KLM have probably met or come close to meeting their quota, at least I hope they have, for getting people that they targeted with this card at the start. They targeted frequent flyers with Air France, KLM, and that's why there was no mileage bonus. They didn't want to give away free flights. They wanted this card in the hands of those people who really would be using it. But I think now they've realized it's time to do mileage bonus, and they've done so, and it's a good one. If you apply for the Air France KLM World Elite MasterCard until October 18th, you can earn up to 60,000 Flying Blue miles. Plus, you'll still earn the 60 XP towards status. Now, this offer is not first year free like the previous offers that they've had with the card, so you do have to pay the $132 annual fee. But with 60,000 flying blue miles, you have a lot of value there. But first, let's go into how it's awarded. So you get 10,000 miles after your first purchase, easy. 10,000 miles when you spend $5,000 on the card within the first year of having it. So you can spend $5,000 right away or spread it across the 12 months, whichever one, you get 10,000 miles. And then if you spend another $10,000 on the card, so 15,000 total, but that next 10,000 within the first year will get you another 10,000 miles. So that's 30,000 miles based on $15,000 of spending in the first year. But it's not time limited, and I guess other than a year, but there's no time limit to the miles. Some of the cards right now where they say, oh, you have to spend this much within a year, they don't give you the miles until the year is up. Air France KLM will give you the miles on your statement date the month after you hit the spending limit. So if you spend $15,000 on the card in 2 months of having it, you'll get 30,000 miles within 2 months. The part you do have to wait for is the 30,000 mile anniversary bonus. That you get when the card renews. So it is a long, kind of drawn out bonus, something we've seen typical of many cards nowadays. But it's still nice to see that on this card because, 30,000 miles can get you 60,000 miles can get you 2 round-trip economy class tickets between Eastern Canada and Europe, North Africa, Turkey. When you check out the link to the post, go read it because I put in examples there of 30,000 mile offers to all those, one to North Africa, one to Turkey, and one to Europe. I gave examples of all. So there's some huge value here. North of $800-900 or even over $1,000 from this welcome bonus, and that's after taking away 2 years of annual fees. So definitely something to check out. Like I've said, you've heard on the podcast before and in videos as well, that we here at Rewards Canada consider Flying Blue to be the best airline frequent flyer program for those flying economy class across the Atlantic, and it holds its own in business class as well. It's really good as well. You can get a one-way business class ticket on KLM between Canada and Europe for 55,000 miles, so this welcome bonus would get you that as well. Unless, of course, there's promo rewards. If there's promo rewards in place where they have 50% off business class, you get a round-trip flight on KLM in business class with this welcome bonus, or you get up to 4 flights in economy class. So just the value here, the potential value here is amazing with this welcome bonus. It's only available till October 18th. So if you've been waiting out for this, I know a lot of you have been waiting out for this to get a mileage bonus with the card. This is a great time to do it, and I hope it works out for Air France KLM because this gives people an opportunity to try them out. And I think that's what I think some people have been waiting for. I know some people will probably game the system. They're going to use those miles, and as soon as they redeem them, they're going to cut up the card. But I hope for the sake of the longevity of this card, for it staying around, and Air France KLM continuing to offer it for many years on end, that people do keep it even after they've reached that welcome bonus, because they'll try out the products, they'll realize, hey, there is value in this program, there is value in these airlines, these are good airlines, that they'll continue using that credit card. So that's really my hope. Like I said, I know there's going to be some of you who will get this card, and after a year, 14 months, you're going to can it after you redeemed your miles. And that's the way the market is, that's the way the game is played, but I hope there's also some of you out there who will keep this card for the long term. So that's that offer. Again, link will be below, and we'll go on to the next thing. So Tim Hortons credit card. Yes, the next thing with the Tim Hortons credit card. We've covered it a few times now on Rewards Canada. We have a video which is a reaction, a look, first reaction of the card. You guys know, if you've watched that, you know my feeling of the card. It's nothing spectacular, but right now they've put out a special offer for card holders that you can get up to $10 back in transit fares every Monday when you use your Tim's credit card to tap on a PRESTO device. So this is in the GTA area, Greater Toronto area. So this includes like TTC, Go Transit, Brampton Transit, things like that. If you use your Tim's credit card from Neo and tap it at a PRESTO machine, you will get money back. And this is only on Mondays though, and it's only till, I think it was till November 7th, $10 back every Monday. So I think you can max this out at $70. So if you have that card, pull it out and tap for your PRESTO with this card, so you get up to you get your transit fees back up to $10 every Monday. So it's kind of cool that they've brought out an offer like this. I mean, the value of the card isn't great in terms of the points you earn, and I mean it's Tim Rewards points. So if they do things like this where there's additional value outside of Tim's, maybe it's going to be a card to look at. Who knows? I mean, this is really specific. Again, this is the GTA area, so this really doesn't affect anybody else outside of, outside of Toronto. If you're in Calgary like I am, or Vancouver or Ottawa, no, this offer is not for you. So, but I mean, it's good to see them do this, and it's good to see them do it so soon after the card is launched. This is something, a lot of times you don't see offers like this on new cards until they've been around for quite a while. So good on them for this offer. If you can make use of it, definitely do it if you have this card. Continuing on with kind of like bonus offers or extra offers, air miles. We covered this last week on the blog, but it was after the live video for last week went up, so this is why it wasn't in last week's video. But they had another flash offer last weekend offering up to 300 bonus miles when you earned with 2 partners in a portion of Canada or 3 partners in like Ontario and that. And the reason I'm bringing it up here is because that offer has been extended. It's been extended through to the end of this weekend, so until September 24th, till late Sunday night. And basically, yeah, as long as you earn 1 mile from 2 partners in Ontario, or not Ontario, sorry, I almost screwed that up. If you earn 1 mile from 2 partners in Quebec, British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, or Saskatchewan, you will earn this 300 bonus miles. Now you have to opt in, so check out the link for the blog post. It gives you a link to where you can opt in for the offer, because if you don't opt in for the offer, you're not going to get this bonus. But anyways, yeah, so if you earn 1 mile from 2 partners, and this can be as simple as Air Miles shops buying something online where you earn a mile and use a BMO Air Miles card for that, that's 2 partners, because the BMO Air Miles card is 1 partner, and the individual merchants on Air Miles shops are considered individual partners as well. So if you're in Ontario or the provinces, like I mentioned, that aren't listed here, where you need to have 3 partners, which pretty much I think is Ontario and Atlantic Canada, where you need to have 3 partners, you can do 2 separate Air Miles shops purchases as long as they're different vendors, and use a BMO Air Miles credit card, and you'll earn 3 partners. Or if you do an Air Miles card linked offer, an Air Miles shops and credit card offer, any combination, just 3 separate partners, you'll get the 300 bonus miles as well. And because it's only earning 1 mile from each, so you spend probably about $40 and you're gonna get this 300 mile bonus, which is worth $30. Air Miles has been on fire with these flash offer bonuses. Like they had just been, they started, was about mid-August with these flash offers, and just doling out the miles for very little effort. I'll be honest, I haven't really taken advantage of it myself. I thought I was going to, like that Dollarama one they had a couple weeks ago, where it was just earn 1 mile, I think, on the card linked or something like that, and you would earn 100 bonus miles or something like that. I don't have it in front of me, but I know there was a big offer for Dollarama a few weeks ago, outside of their standard Dollarama offer. I was going to take advantage of that, but of course I didn't make it down to Dollarama. This one, I don't know if I will either. I wish I could, but I'm not also going to go out of my way to go buy stuff that I don't need. And that's kind of the general philosophy with points miles. Don't go out of your way to buy things you don't need. I guess unless you can really find value, unless that 300 bonus miles is worth a lot more to you than taking care, than with those things you're purchasing that you don't need. So that's what I'm trying to explain here. So it's kind of getting later on Friday. My brain's starting to fizzle out. But anyways, yeah, so it's a really good offer. Link will be below. In some ways I'm kind of excited to see what Air Miles is going to be doing here. They've really, can't say they've come 180 fully since the bankruptcy news earlier this year, but it does really appear that the money and ownership from BMO has given the program a boost. And so I'm just curious to see what we're going to see from the program over the coming months. It definitely still needs a lot of work, but doling out the miles like this is great news, as long as they don't devalue the program. That's the other issue. When any loyalty program gives away thousands upon thousands of miles, they end up having to devalue the program in the future. They don't have to, but that's what they do because there's so many miles on the books. So let's hope that does not happen here with Air Miles. The last thing we'll cover quickly was a Marriott bonus. Marriott Bonvoy, 5,000 bonus points for stays of 2 or more nights at Delta hotels, at a single Delta hotel in Montreal, 1 in Ottawa, and 1 in Sherbrooke, Quebec as well. I won't go too in depth on this. The bonus is on the flexible rate, so it's a little higher than the best member rate, but the example I put in for the Ottawa City Centre location, it ended up being $15 more I think in total over the 2 nights, but you're getting 5,000 points worth at least $50. Works out to a pretty decent deal. Really, it's up to you if you want to save $15 or want to get those points for future use. It's a good way to buy points. It's cheaper than actually buying points directly from Marriott, even when they have their 40% or 50% bonuses. I think this one worked out, the Ottawa example worked out to 0.3 cents per point. And when there's like a 40% bonus, you're paying 1.25 to 1.5 cents per point, so it's a lot less. So check that out. This offer, it's called Fall 4. And then Sherbrooke, or Fall for Ottawa, Fall for Montreal. So it's kind of a fall 2-night stay offer at those 3 Delta hotels in Eastern Canada. So check out the link below for that. And that's really all she wrote for this week. I want to thank you once again for tuning in to This Week in Rewards. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to us on all our different channels, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you.